All right, good morning, everybody. I know I said I was going to be right back, but actually, I got a good night's sleep and uh, back at it this morning. So I did get my cup of coffee here, so I'm all good. And I wanted to pick up where we left off last time. So we were talking about Esther Boserup and the Boserup effect. And just by way of review a little bit, when she is describing this effect, she's talking about the relationship between population and technology, and says that, generally speaking, we could say that population size, population growth, often serves as an incentive to technological innovation, right? But then she qualifies that. She said that's just not something we should accept universally at face value, right? So there are certain qualifications to it um, that, certainly population growth, right, could motivate the adoption of new technologies, but she says there's always a difference between technological change, right, technological change and technological innovation. In other words, some societies advance technologically not through actual technological innovation, through the invention of brand new technologies, but rather they adopt technologies that come from someplace else, technologies that are used in other parts of the world, for example. Okay. So, and that can have consequences. And maybe I want to say something like this. It's not just the adoption of technologies. We decide to adopt technologies from other parts of the world, but that the issue of power is also involved. So it may not just be the adoption of a technology, but maybe the imposition of a technology somehow. So we have to bring the issue of power into the equation here as well. The powerful influence, for example, of multinational corporations operating in the global economy. And in this case, maybe agribusiness corporations, multinational agribusiness corporations, for example, like Monsanto, or a company like that, or other large-scale international organizations. All right. We talked, for instance, about the World Bank and the IMF, and maybe we would have to bring up the issue of structural adjustment in there, and maybe that has something to do with what motivates countries, right, to adopt certain kinds of technology. All right. What else? So she also talks about how inequality, right? Inequality can also limit the influence of this effect, of this Boserup effect. In other words, that adopting technologies might actually be very expensive. Adopting certain kinds of technologies may actually be very expensive, and that the sort of capital investment that farmers might need to use these technologies to implement them might actually sort of price them out of the market, or force them out of work, right? Which can also increase poverty, and increase inequality and bring new kinds of problems with it. So to talk about that, your authors, right, Bell and Ashwood, use the example of miracle rice, and I wanted to say a little something about miracle rice and what this historical example can tell us.